たる夢
Godzilla Minus One is one of the best movies I've seen in a very, very long time. For me, it's as emblematic as movies like Jurassic Park, movies that were revolutionary, and even movies like Jaws, which I have not seen. I know, I have to. But as I said before in my review of Godzilla Minus One, which you can check out, it's a spoiler-free review, Godzilla Minus One managed to do what a lot of modern Western movies seem to have lost the ability to do with basically a minuscule budget. So now tell me, what is the excuse for American films to be making movies upwards of $300 million to produce subpar entertainment? The Godzilla 2014 movie possessed a budget of around $160 million. And for some context, you barely see Godzilla on screen. Now don't get me wrong, when you do see him on screen, he is absolutely magnificent. He is a sight to behold, and they really make you feel as though he's there, and he's strong and imposing and fearsome. But despite all of this, and how each scene that he was on screen managed to look like wallpaper, Godzilla Minus One was able to achieve the same and even better in some circumstances, with better acting, better pacing, and better everything overall. I feel like Toho took a page from out of the Monsterverse books, took their project, and basically said, you know what, that is really good, that's a good idea, that's what we should have been doing with our movies from the get-go. Let's take your product and like make it way better. And that's exactly what they did. For $15 million. I want you to bear in mind that they produced this movie that came out on top and looked so amazing and rivals that of the American Godzillas for $15 million. Consider the budget for the other Godzilla Monsterverse movies. Godzilla 2014, $160 million. Godzilla King of the Monsters, $170 million. Godzilla vs. Kong, $155 to $200 million. And this is the best movie out of the Monsterverse franchise that I've seen to date.
Would you stop?
It was the most beautiful movie, and I think it did the best job at portraying the kaiju on screen and making them feel like part of the action for a long time, like we were actually there for them, without making the human beings a nuisance. But the acting for the humans, wasn't that great. Don't get me wrong, they're good actors, but the humans didn't really make us feel or believe that they were in any real danger. And even when they were in danger, it came off very one-dimensional, their reactions. Godzilla Minus One, danger felt like danger, and I do expound on this in my review, but they were able to achieve way more with so much less. And why am I bringing this up?
Because you're an idiot.
Because I want to highlight the potential for creating compelling entertainment even in the face of inflation. And I really want to challenge this notion that seems to be propagated by these American studios that you need to spend an exorbitant amount of money in order to create a really good and high quality film. But what's hilarious about all of this is that the more expensive a film is, especially nowadays with like the big corporations like Disney, is the more they seem to suck. They spend all this money trying to be conclusive and do all the right things and putting all of the focus where it's not really needed, and they sacrifice the story and the plot and the pacing for the sake of God knows what, only to achieve the opposite of what they set out to do. I think it also comes down to pride and passion, which seems to be lacking in a lot of these manufactured movies. And that's what happens when studios tend to have a monopoly. They probably think to themselves, well, people are going to watch our stuff anyway. We have more money than we know what to do with, until they start hemorrhaging it. And we know that Godzilla Minus One is going to make way more than what their budget was. And honestly, it's just good business sense too. Why would you want to spend all that money knowing that you're depending on the profits to help you meet your success? Like, if I want to make a lot of money, I'm going to try to utilize as least amount of the budget I can so that I have the ability to make back way more. Think about it. If I can make a movie for $12 million and then the movie makes like $200 million, we're all going to be balling, bro. If I make a movie that has a budget of $200 million already, that's like a really, really high risk, low reward kind of situation, because you gotta account for marketing too. The chances that you'll make back that much plus more is kind of like a pipe dream. Once again, Japan showing everybody else how it's done. I like how the guy who directed this too actually took inspiration from some of the big named older monster American films and they employed it to this. I actually believe that they took some inspiration from the MonsterVerse films because the MonsterVerse films were really good. I mean, they had their issues, but they were still decent films. And what they showcase to Japan is people still want to see Godzilla if it's produced in a way that is momentous to the American audience. And they took the American thing and made it freaking better. I don't know, that's hilarious to me. They also made Godzilla very dangerous. Now, MonsterVerse Godzilla is a badass, and he was dangerous in his own right. And I love how in King of the Monsters, we got to see him showcase the element of danger that he posed after seeing him almost beaten, seeing a part of him that we haven't seen. Not in the modern sense anyway. But like I said before, the humans never faced any real danger or didn't feel like they did. They seemed to only be there to provide some sort of off-the-cuff commentary to what was going on around them, which I know some of the older Godzilla movies did. But still, everybody just wanted to see the kaiju, and we were interested in the kaiju because the human element didn't really give us anything of any interest. Godzilla Minus One was able to do that for us, and is the first Godzilla movie I've seen so far where I'm actually interested in the humans. I also point this out in my review. It's very noteworthy because it seems to be a lost art right now, making people care about the human element in a monster film. Yeah, I don't know. Don't ask me what movie that is. I'm trying to figure out myself. There's also something personally bizarre to me for big creatures or previously thought scary creatures in these franchises suddenly being portrayed as these benevolent and sweet and altruistic things when they were not intended to be portrayed that way initially. Most dangerous creature in the world who cannot be tamed, lets you pet her on the head and only gives you a paper cut when she's throwing a tantrum because you're not listening to what she's saying. Like, that just got old. It was like a really weird trick that you showed that everyone was like, wow, we've never seen that concept before. And then it kind of outstays its welcome to the point where you're visibly rolling your eyes anytime it's mentioned thereon after. Or like Jurassic World Dominion, where they're like, oh, you want more dinosaurs? All right, let's just throw every single dinosaur out there. Mother flippin' free-for-all, am I right? And as the dinosaurs fight, the humans are like, oh my god, let's get out the way, but let people see. And it's just this bombastic, outlandish situation which ordinarily would have worked in this case if the movie had a little bit more substance, but it didn't. It's almost like the creators of Godzilla Minus One saw all of the gratuitous problems that the major American studios made for themselves with their movies, and they came out with this and they're like, there, fixed it. They took their method of making movies and made a better movie with it. That's so embarrassing. Now, yes, I do understand that some of this comes down to subjectivity, but there's something to be said when the critics and the audience all agree that this is a decent film. The people who do have issues with this movie, funny enough, are saying that they don't want to see the human problems. Which, fair enough, that was a problem we had with the MonsterVerse movies. But as someone who shares the same sentiment, I will give that this movie did well and redeemed the human element by making us take a step back and experience what these humans might be feeling. They managed to portray them as being believable, having substance in character development, and the human element directly tied in with Godzilla. And this Godzilla movie, because it's kind of a reboot of the 1954 original, because it's Godzilla terrorizing the human landscape and territory, it wouldn't make sense now, would it, if there wasn't a human element? Why would we be terrified of him wreaking havoc on land? It's not like he's fighting another kaiju. He literally is the issue. He is the antagonist to the humans. So people making this argument about just seeing the kaiju probably missed what this movie was supposed to be. 2014 tried to do some of that, but they missed the ball, not because of the human element per se, but because of how they executed it. If the humans were more interesting and the guy that we followed as the main character had the acting chops or the credibility in how he reacted to certain situations as the ones in Minus One did, this movie would have been more memorable to me. But I don't remember any elements of the humans aside from the fact that they were boring, and I only wanted to see Godzilla on screen, and I missed him every time he wasn't or we didn't get focus on that because the humans were boring. And in Godzilla Minus One, they were able to fix that. So thank you so much for that. This is a monster movie, a kaiju movie no less. And they managed to successfully and authentically showcase the humans being terrified and causing most people to believe that the humans were truly terrified and in danger and to feel sorry for them, which I did watching this. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.
Godzilla Minus One